Good afternoon, and thanks for joining us on this Friday. I'm Jurnee Taylor, and here are the stories we're following today. The manhunt for the mass shooting suspect in Maine is now expanding. A closer look at how this community is grieving, even as it remains in lockdown. Plus, coping with the stress of breast cancer is a challenge many endure. Well, coming up, we'll show you how one survivor's story and the skills she's learned to navigate the emotional toll. And one Little Rock teen is turning lemons into lemonade. Later, we take a look at how she's transformed a hobby into a business in a matter of years. But first, we have a look at Weather Friday.
Friday.
I love that, Nathan. Thank you for the energy. Meteorologist Nathan Scott for you people. Listen, it's muggy though, but we are still happy. It is Friday.
Although, should I be celebrating because it's been a pretty short week for me. I've only worked 2 days, but it's still Friday nonetheless. We start off this morning on a wet note. We had a band of rain make its way through. We can't complain about that because we need the rain. Here's live radar at this time. We still have a little bit of rain moving through right along Interstate 40, close to Des Arc and into Monroe counties. Also a little bit of rain into Grant County for you folks in Sheridan. So we'll hang on to the chance of scattered showers, but there are some breaks in the clouds. And I think we'll see more breaks in the clouds as we go into the rest of the afternoon hours. Temperatures, it's warm, it's humid, 76 right now in Little Rock, 73 in Arkadelphia, 74 in Russellville. And highs today will warm up into the upper 70s to lower 80s across the state, especially if we see some peaks of sun. Now for this evening, Friday football games, there could still be a spotty shower storm in the River Valley, also the Ouachitas. But look what happens tomorrow. Expect lots of rain to develop across Arkansas. Yes, it's going to be a wet start to the weekend. We've got quite a bit of rain to talk about, which will put a dent in the drought. Also, much cooler temperatures. In fact, I've lowered the numbers considering what we were looking at earlier this morning. As we go into the weekend, I'll have more information on that and talk about some winter-like conditions. Certainly could be headed in our direction a little bit later.
Well, we begin with an update out of Lewiston, Maine. A manhunt continues for 40-year-old Robert Card. He is accused of killing at least 18 people Wednesday night and wounding 13 others. Police say he should be considered armed and dangerous and are warning residents to continue to shelter in place. Bradley Blackburn reports.
Law enforcement officials in Maine have expanded shelter-in-place orders beyond the town of Lewiston as they continue hunting for mass shooting suspect Robert Card. Police say divers will be searching the water near the dock where Card's vehicle was found.
The river is a big piece of this. The car was located there. Evidence is located in the vehicle or right there along the shores of the Androscoggin River.
On Thursday, SWAT teams, K-9 units, and helicopters scoured Card's hometown of Bowdoin, even honing in on one home in particular that came up empty. Card, an Army reservist, allegedly opened fire inside a bowling alley and restaurant in Lewiston Wednesday night, using a semi-automatic assault rifle with an extended magazine and a scope.
Every one of those rounds that got fired need to be investigated. Every one of those cartridges that lays on the ground needs to be collected.
Despite recent mental health issues, including a temporary hold at a facility over the summer, federal law would not have kept Card from obtaining a firearm. As the investigation unfolds, the names and faces of the victims are being revealed, and loved ones in lockdown are sharing memories online. Arthur Strout was at Schmenge's Bar and Grill Wednesday night playing pool with his father, but stayed behind. He and his wife, Christy, were raising a family together.
He was a good guy, and he was family-oriented, and he always took care of us.
Ben Saroy, a resident of Lewiston, says before the massacre, he always felt safe in this area.
Cherish your loved ones while they're here, because it could happen, I guess, anywhere.
More people were murdered in Lewiston Wednesday night than in the last 15 years combined. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News, Lewiston, Maine.
Well, sources tell CBS officials are investigating whether Card was targeting a current or former girlfriend. The motive for the shooting still remains unclear. Meanwhile, in a local THV 11 update, Little Rock police have arrested a man involved in a deadly shooting earlier this month on Mapleville Pike. 20-year-old Dalen Bland was arrested Thursday. He's being charged with 2 counts of capital murder after 2 men were found shot dead back on October 13th. And in Pine Bluff, police say a man has turned himself in after a shooting left 3 injured and another person dead on North University this past weekend. 21-year-old Marquise Latrell Sisson turned himself in to police today. Sisson is the 4th person to be arrested in this shooting. In Gaza, Israeli ground forces crossed the border again overnight, the second incursion in 2 days. Hamas says Israeli airstrikes have killed more than 7,000 Palestinians. The head of UN relief efforts there says the world, quote, seems to have turned its back on Gaza. Deborah Pata has more from Jerusalem.
The Israeli government is facing mounting pressure from the families of those hostages to bring their loved ones home. But even as they gathered last night to voice their demands, a reminder that war is all around, forcing them to seek cover. And even Israel's powerful Iron Dome is not always able to prevent Hamas rockets from landing. In Gaza, there is nothing to stop Israel's relentless bombardment as it steps up airstrikes, often reducing entire neighborhoods to rubble. Bewildered children left with nothing. Amid the ash and the dust, gut-wrenching grief is everywhere. Often, entire families are crushed under the ruins of residential buildings. The death toll in Gaza is soaring at a staggering rate. Body after body wrapped in shrouds, laid down outside a local hospital, even as more arrive. Israel is also conducting ground raids into Gaza. Overnight, another one targeting what the military says was a suspected Hamas position on the outskirts of Gaza City, backed by fighter jets and drones.
And the United Nations is now warning of possible war crimes being committed in Gaza, saying it is deeply concerned about the collective punishment of people living there in response to the atrocious attack by Hamas, which it says is also a war crime. Deborah Patter, CBS News, Jerusalem.
The U.S. military carried out airstrikes on facilities in Syria last night, targeting facilities where Iranian-backed militia groups store weapons. President Biden ordered the strikes in retaliation for the Iranian-backed attacks on U.S. soldiers operating in Syria and Iraq.
Almost all the troops that have been injured are back on duty, and that there are some that have suffered what we call traumatic brain injury. That's from the concussive effect when these rockets land close by.
Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin said in a statement Thursday night that the U.S. does not seek conflict, but the Iranian-backed attacks against U.S. forces are unacceptable and must stop. The Arkansas Department of Health reports multiple cases of tuberculosis in several areas of the state. Now the fear is that more people are infected and possibly spreading the disease unknowingly. Some of those cases include children, which can be deadly. ADH says there are clusters in Craighead, St. Francis, and Greene counties, also Howard County in southwest Arkansas, and a few cases in northwest Arkansas.
TB is completely curable, and someone who is having TB right now and who's infectious to others, if they take two weeks of treatment, they're supposed to be non-infectious. They can go back doing their routine business.
Symptoms include a cough that won't go away after several weeks, fever, weight loss, and night sweats. Well, it was a packed house in Newton County as residents and leaders held a town hall meeting in Jasper to talk about changing the Buffalo River's designation from a national river to a national park preserve. Now, a national preserve is similar to a national park, but Congress permits public hunting, trapping, and oil and gas explorations on national preserves. But many fear that would lead to harm for the region's unspoiled wilderness.
So I think that whenever we're looking at this, we need to be transparent. That's just not quite happening right now. And I believe very importantly, I was taught in history that our founding fathers meant for you, the citizens, to be able to know what your government's doing. And that, quite frankly, just hasn't happened, and it's flat out wrong.
Designating public lands around the Buffalo National River as a national park preserve requires federal legislation. So far, there's been no word on if any legislation has been drafted. We will have much more on this story tomorrow morning on Wake Up Central. 5 years after Arkansas added a 4th casino license, well, we may be back at square one. The state Supreme Court ruled that the license held by Legends Casino is void. That means it's now up for grabs. Both sides of this, Legends and Gulfside Casino, say if and when an application process reopens, they're ready to apply.
We don't want litigation. That litigation is not good for anybody. Gulfside is committed to building a casino in Polk County. That's what we want to do.
We're committed to them. We're going to pursue this to the very end.
Both parties will need a letter of support from either the county judge, the mayor, or a resolution of support from the quorum court. Castleberry says they'll pitch their plans to all three, and Garrett says they're confident they can get that letter from the judge once again. And the Pine Bluff School District prepares to break ground on a brand new high school. Back in August, voters approved a millage increase that's set to help fund the school. Monday, the school board voted to move into the construction phase. The architect working for the school has been coming up with design plans, and the superintendent tells us this gives them a better idea of what the new and improved campus will actually look like. But they'll have to finalize the construction documents and get them approved before breaking ground.
That bid package will go out so that we can receive bids on the subcontractors that will actually come in and do the building of the building. But in April, once we have that price, then we can begin the actual construction.
Now, the goal is for construction to begin next fall. The superintendent says whatever money is left over will go toward upgrading other facilities within the district. Hosting a lemonade stand as a kid is common amongst many. However, not many choose to grow it into a real business. Now, one Little Rock teen is doing just that. THV 11's Brooke Buckner shows us how far she's come since we last spoke to her in 2017.
I was really shocked. I probably almost cried because it's such a crazy moment, because you go from a traditional lemonade stand in your grandparents' front yard and now you're in stores.
That was 13-year-old Kylie McGee's reaction when her mom surprised her with the news that her lemonade hit store shelves in Central Arkansas.
All these different people are trying your lemonade and you're like, oh yeah, that's me. It's crazy.
It's been a long road to get here. We first introduced you to Kylie in 2017. She was 7 years old at the time, running her own food truck. She and her family still bring the food truck out to events around the area, but now her primary focus is selling lemonade.
I try to get a lot of my homework done while I'm at school, so when I get out of school, I can help my mom get the lemonade to stores and stock the shelves whenever I can.
Kylie says when she's not putting money earned back into the business, she's putting some of it away for college. Her goal is to sell in stores out of state too, in addition to the 11 local ones she's already in and her website.
People recording videos and posting reviews, especially on TikTok, it's getting my business really out there, so it's helping out a lot.
And she says she learns a lot from her mom as the business grows.
There's a lot of stuff that I don't really know about, so she kind of teaches me along the way, and I kind of try to do it with her. She's really a big support, and I love her.
And she looks forward to the expansion in the near future. In Little Rock, Brooke Buckner, THV 11 News.
I just have to say I'm very impressed. I love that. Well, for now, you can find Kylie's Lemonade in stores in Little Rock, Benton, North Little Rock, and Jacksonville. She also ships orders worldwide, so you can find a link to her website on THV11.com.